this first assessment, we find that the administration request exceeds congressional earmarks that were approved last year by more than 100%, twice as much. This amendment would do nothing to stop the practice of earmarking, but rather only eliminate the congressional influence in the process. But, Madam President, for those who want to persist in championing this amendment as a reform, they should seriously think about the following information. Last week, the Democratic leadership of the House Appropriations Committee announced that they no longer would include earmarks done on behalf of for-profit entities, that means for all practical purposes, private companies. Madam President, the reaction from the lobbying community and other interested parties was swift. According to a March 11 Washington Post article, and I quote, lobbyists said a prohibition against for-profit earmarks will shift their focus from Capitol Hill to federal agencies, and that's the end of quote. Mr. Alan Chavokin, a lobbyist for the Professional Services Council, quoted, there will be greater attention focused on protecting programs in the President's budget, end of quote. Madam President, lobbyists and oversight organizations both agree the lobbyists would simply go around the Congress and attempt to get the earmarks in the President's request. A story that appeared in the March 11 edition of Roll Call reports that Bill Allison of the nonpartisan Sunlight Foundation, which advocates for government transparency, said earmarks should remain in appropriations bill. And I quote, dangerous earmarkers are those going underground, Mr. Allison said. The real solution is to make them transparent, end of quote. Instead of banning earmarks, Mr. Allison said Congress should focus on creating a centralized place for the public to see who is requesting earmarks and an easily navigable process for following an earmark from start to finish. Madam President, let me say for the record, we already do that. And finally, from Laura Peterson of Taxpayers for Common Sense, an organization that has been outspoken in its criticism of the Appropriations Committee, in a March Congressional Quarterly article, she said, again I quote, any ban on spending defined on earmarks could end up increasing the practice of securing funding without formally securing funding, without formally requesting an earmark. I would be concerned that some earmarks might just migrate to the appropriations bill as committee adds. Madam President, if it weren't so serious, it would be almost laughable. Under this amendment, we will not eliminate earmarks. We will only eliminate our role, a role the Constitution has assigned to the Congress. Moreover, all our efforts at making earmarks more transparent would be rendered moot.